Welcome to This Week in High School Sports. I'm Teresa Whipple here with Steve Willits, and should we talk about the weather?
Not as much to talk about lately, right? It's starting to clear up a little bit.
It is.
They're saying we might even hit 70s this week.
I know.
Not a bad time to get out and watch some high school sports.
That's right, and there will be a lot to watch, and we will talk about that soon. But first, of course, we have to give a shout out to Red Onion Burgers and tell us about Mother's Day at Red Onion, Steve.
Yeah, the Mother's Day event coming up May 14th, so don't forget about Mom. And if you need a place to go, Red Onion Burgers. I think it's from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. They're doing a 7-station meal for, I believe the price is
$14.97.
$14.97. So
Yeah.
get your fill and make yourself and Mom happy and head on over to Red Onion Burgers.
Okay, well, and we're going to start with track, right?
We are, yeah. Track season's starting to wind down a little bit. Interesting track season, too. You always have the head-to-head meets at times during the week, and then these invitationals taking place on the weekend lately. Boys and girls kind of heading off in different directions lately. The boys, mostly in the area, were over at Shoreline Stadium, where they had, I think, 82 different schools on Saturday. Harris Cuddick took first place in the discus. He's with Lynnwood. And also we had the boys distant medley team from Edmonds-Woodway take second. And Matthew Park also took second in the 1600. And the girls were over at Lake Washington, where I think 73 different schools were participating. And a few of our girls also doing very well. Vernice Keys, who was a thrower for Edmonds-Woodway, she took first in the discus. Allison Ellie took second in the pole vaults. And one other lady we'd like to mention, one of our other young ladies who does very well out on the track is Hannah Hicks from Edmonds-Woodway. She took fourth in the long jump, and we brought Hannah in to talk not only about her long jump season, but track in general, and she's also one heck of a soccer player. Here's the interview we did with Hannah Hicks. Once again, the Edmonds-Woodway Warrior track and field team having an outstanding season, and with us right now, one of the members of that team, Hannah Hicks. Hannah, only a junior, and yet you've accomplished so much already. We're going to go back and talk about the previous week here. Nice week for you and your teammates. On Thursday, you went up against Shorecrest, which is always a tough team, and you were able to win a couple of events. I know you won the long jump and the triple jump. You also had a nice showing in the 4x200. Talk to me about those events a little bit. Long jump, right now, you, I think, have the 5th best long jump in the state at the 3A level. How are things going there for you in terms of the jumping?
Pretty good. Just mostly trying to stay in the 17s right now. I got there, I PR'd really early in the season, so making sure that I'm staying there and making sure it's not like a fluke or anything like that. And I've stayed in the 17s for the past 4 meets. Yeah, it's been going pretty
well.
good.
It's got you in the top 5 right now.
Yeah.
And then 2 days later, you go to the Lake Washington Invitational, which is a girls-only event, 72 different schools, and you end up placing 4th in the long jump, and your 4x200 team finished 6th overall. With all those schools there and some prestigious schools at that, I guess we should start off by talking about that 4x200 team. We just talked about how your long jump right now is 5th in the state. I think your 4x200 team is 4th in the state right now. That's got to be a thrill for you. I know Morgan Davis, Ella Spleen, and Gabby Chappelle are on that team with you. What's it been like running with those girls, and what are the goals for the team moving forward?
It's been really fun. The girls are really great, and we just get along really well, and the handoffs have been really great. So we've been PRing, I think, almost every single meet that we've gone to, and
just getting better and better.
Yeah, getting better and better, and it's a lot of fun, and yeah, the girls are really fun to be with.
Well, and the thing that I like about talking about 2 different events like that is they're so different from one another. On Thursday, you go up against one other school. On Saturday, there are 72 schools there. You compete in multiple events. I've got to think that the differences in terms of how much time goes or is between the 2 events that you compete in, or even more so on some occasions, it's got to be a little stressful when you're at a large event like that. I've got to think so much downtime. Do nerves start to set in? Do you find yourself trying to preoccupy yourself with other things? Tell me about the difference between participating against one school versus many.
Yeah, so with one school it's a little difficult because the meet moves so quickly, and so you've got to check out from one event and make sure that you're warming up properly with with the relay team, and then making sure that you're not missing I don't miss my long jump. And with a bigger meet, it's a little easier because there's usually some time between the between the two events, but it can also be difficult because you've got so much time that you don't want to get cold and you don't want to not be prepared. So just making sure that you're staying warm, staying loose, and preparing for your jumps and stuff like that.
And you seem to do well in the big events. I know we mentioned your name on the show last week because we were talking about the Easton Invitational, which takes place at Snohomish every year, the largest invitational in Snohomish County, and you placed second there, and you almost won the event. What was that like for you? I know Easton's always kind of a prestigious thing for most of the athletes around here. Tell me about that experience.
So that was really cool because last year I don't think I got into the finals. So being able to get into the finals and then being able to place second with the first place girl only jumping like I think 3 inches ahead of me was really cool. And it was cold and it was raining a little bit. So doing that well in those conditions was really exciting, and yeah, it was really fun.
Now, we talked a little bit about some of your teammates a minute ago, and this is an Edmonds-Woodway team that's really loaded again this year. We know some of the runners that we've talked about for the last few years with Yukino and Stephanie and Olivia and all of them. And Vernice Keys now, I think she has the #1 shot put in the state right now, and it looks like she might be the favorite to win it. One other name that caught my eye, though, when I was going through some of your standings this year and some of your events, there's another Hicks on the team.
Yes.
Kira Hicks, who's only a freshman. Tell me a little bit about that and what it's like to have little sister on the squad.
Yeah. So it's a little weird because we haven't competed together or gone to the same school since like elementary school, and so having her on the team is really cool because I get to help her out and cheer her on, and she gets to cheer me on and actually be there instead of being up in the stands. And I can give her a few pointers with her jumps as well, and seeing her have a good time with her hurdling is really cool. And yeah, it's...
Well, you're not necessarily competing in all of the same events, right? I know you do some triple jumping also, which we've mentioned, your 4x200, but it sounds like Kira does some other things as well.
Yeah.
What do the two of you have the same favorite events, or how does that work?
She's really enjoying the 300 hurdles this year. She does long jump and high jump a little bit, but I think she really enjoys hurdling and I'm more of a jumper. So it's a little. We've got some of the same events, but yeah, definitely different likes.
No, definitely. It sounds like it. Now, the next big event for you is the Edmonds School District Invitational coming up Friday, 5 p.m., and we should give ourselves a little plug here. Folks can watch that live on soundlivesportsnetwork.com. When you get to an event like this, the school district event, that then goes into the South, 3A South Wesco event the following week, which is followed by districts and then state. So you're kind of going through that process right now of trying to qualify from one event to the next. When you get to this Edmonds School District event, I know that doesn't necessarily factor over into qualifying for state, but the following ones do. What are the goals as you move forward right now? Are you just trying to kind of stay healthy, work on form? Is it about winning your particular event? What are the goals when you move from an event to event when you go into postseason?
So with the Edmonds School District Championships, like you said, it doesn't qualify you for anything, but so definitely making sure that you're healthy and making sure that you're, like for me, getting on the board and not being over or under the board, and if you're feeling tired, stopping so that you don't get hurt or you don't lose your legs, and definitely staying up where you want to be is good too. But mostly it's about staying healthy, and yeah.
So we will see. So again, you're making a run at state. Got to go through districts first, but certainly you're going to be competing at the state level for the long jump as well as the 4x200. Speaking of state, we got to talk about another sport, one that you've done very well over the last couple of years. You are the goalkeeper on the soccer team. We should mention you were also the Everett Herald's all-area goalkeeper this year, which is not just the schools locally here, but that involves, I think, 30 or 40 different high schools, and they chose you as the #1 goalkeeper as a junior, which is kind of a big deal. Tell me about the sport of soccer and what that means to you. And we should also point out, doing this interview over the weekend, you do track by weekday, and then you're doing soccer on the weekend still. You're still playing on a team, Select. Tell me about your soccer. Well, I guess we should start off by talking about the fact that you're balancing the two at the same time. What is it like playing Select while you're also trying to do track and field?
It's a little difficult because I've got practices for soccer on the weekdays as well, so trying to balance having track and then having to go over to soccer, and balancing homework as well as
that's kind of important
ordeal,
too.
Yeah. But it's really nice because so far a lot of my club soccer games have been on different days than track meets, and so I've had a little bit of time to rest and get ice anything if I need to and stretch and stuff like that. So.
And this is a soccer team, not your club team, but now Edmonds-Woodway. They took third in state last year. Again, you're only a junior, so you'll be back next year. Tell me a little bit about your upcoming senior year in the fall. Is this a team that can compete at state again this year?
I think so. We're losing 3 girls that have done really good and helped the team out a lot, but we've got a really good JV team and a lot of really good girls that will help fill those spots. So I'm really excited to see what we can do and to get back out with those girls because they're a lot of fun to be with, and yeah.
And now a conversation that you and I had right off of camera before we started rolling here that caught me off guard a little bit. I just assumed that you, having the soccer skills that you do, and certainly with the honors that have come with it, I thought soccer would be something you'd look forward to doing in college, but you're telling me that you might do track and field instead.
Yeah. I do love soccer, but I have had a lot of fun with track this year and the past years, and I want to kind of give that a go because I've been doing really well in that too, and I'm still thinking I might be doing like intramural if the college that I go to has that, but as of right now I'm kind of not thinking about doing soccer for the college specifically, but yeah.
Sure. And again, you're only a junior, so maybe it's too early in the process, but have you started looking at colleges yet a little bit in terms of
a little bit
where you'd like to go and do track?
Yeah, mostly for schooling, but a little bit for track, and probably not as probably haven't looked as much as I probably should by now. But the process is definitely started, and
well, and especially when you start to get to the postseason here on the track season, where when you're at districts and you're at state, a lot of colleges start showing up at those events. So I think if they're not already talking to you, they might be here very shortly.
Yeah.
Hey, Hannah, thanks for coming in today. Best of luck to you, not only during the rest of the track season, but into the soccer season next year. We'll see if you can continue to rack up some of those wins. I know you had, I think, 12 shutouts last year, and it should be a lot of fun to keep an eye on you and your teammates. So best of luck the rest of the way.
Once again, I'm amazed by how much these students balance, especially with Hannah, her schooling, soccer, track, wow.
Yeah, and it's funny, side note to that, when we were trying to line up the interview for Hannah, we had to be a little bit careful of her time because as soon as she was done with the interview, she ran off to a soccer match.
Of
So,
course she did.
You know, it's not enough that you're doing 2 track meets in 3 days, and then you go right to soccer, and then again, postseason coming up for her in track. So certainly a busy young lady, and like you mentioned, she's not the only one. It's kind of how sports roll in the 21st century.
Yeah, it is with these kids. Yep. So what else do we have going on?
Tennis. We'll make sure that we give a little shout out to them. The Edmonds-Woodway tennis team, that is. The girls picking up 6-1 victories over both Lynnwood and Meadowdale this week. I think they defeated Mount Lake Terrace 7-0 the previous week. So really an Edmonds-Woodway team that's kind of standing above the group in terms of Edmonds School District this year. So nice job for the Warriors. They've got another, I think, week of regular season before they start to get into district play. And then soccer. Our soccer teams, really 3 of which are doing very well right now. On Friday night, we had a chance to broadcast Mount Lake Terrace's 2-0 victory over Edmonds-Woodway. Mount Lake Terrace right now looking like they're the number 2 seed in the District 1 2A playoffs, right behind Archbishop Murphy, who's the 2-time defending state champion. So Mount Lake Terrace playing very well, hardly giving up any goals either. Junero Ruiz, who's their goalie, he's had 9 shutouts this year, or clean sheets as they like to call them in soccer. And then Lynnwood picked up a victory over Mount Lake Terrace earlier in the week on Tuesday night. That game was at Lynnwood High School, a game that went into overtime, and we brought Lynnwood's 2 key scorers to the studio. Second time in 2 years. We brought Ryley Johnson and Dane Evanger in, and here's the interview we had with them. The Lynnwood Royals soccer team having another great season. They're heading to the district playoffs for the 2nd consecutive year. And with us right now, the 2 stars of the team, Dane Evanger and Ryley Johnson, both seniors this year. We had you guys in here last year as juniors. And guys, we're gonna talk about the season overall, but we really want to start off by talking about last Tuesday's game. A big one for you against Mount Lake Terrace, a team that doesn't give up very many goals this year. I think they've given up 6 goals all year through the first 13 games. And big night over at Lynnwood High School, division rivalry, crosstown rivals, and you guys pick up a nice 2-1 victory. We're going to go through that game a little bit here first. Ryley, And we've got a picture of you we're going to put up right away here. The first goal of the game, and there it is. Just about, I think, 18 or 19 minutes into. Talk me through the play here and what we're looking at.
We started off with an offensive play, drew the foul, and as we lined up, I had my teammate Alex Villasenor. I told him to run over the ball so I could see what the keeper was going to do and what the wall was going to react to. And as he ran over it, Malik Terrace's wall just split wide open. So as I ran up to it, I was like, okay, I'm just going to smash it right through this hole. And they split again, and the ball went straight through into the back of the net. It worked perfectly.
So what you're saying is you essentially made that decision as you were running up to the ball. It wasn't something that was already pre-orchestrated in your head. You made that kind of on the fly, so to speak.
Definitely.
So you give yourselves the 1-0 lead at that point. Malik Terrace then ends up tying up the game later on, and we do have another picture we want to put up of you too, Ryley. We've got a few action shots that we used for the article that appeared earlier this week. So hard-fought game all the way through there. There you are, I guess, going for a header. It looks like it might have gone over you on that particular point there. But a hard-fought game. Malik Terrace certainly not a team that was going to go away easy. They ended up tying it up with about 15 minutes to go. It sends the game into overtime. Dane, what was on your mind at that point when I guess Bobby Stoyanov hit that goal with about 66 minutes in, I think? Were you thinking, oh, here we go again, or what was the mentality?
I was thinking, oh, we have to pick it up. We got to get going. We got to get this win. This is our biggest game. It's the Terrace-Lynnwood rivalry. We got to get the win. And so we all picked it up, we worked together and got the win.
You got the win in overtime, and an overtime in which the two of you worked together to get the goal. Ryley, you made the winning pass to Dane. Tell me about the play and how you set it up and what you saw when you were getting the ball in position for Dane to score.
Well, it started off with us playing defense and somehow getting the ball cleared. And again, Alex looked up and saw me open and played me a long ball down the field. I took a defender on, picked my head up, saw Dane, gave him a ball, and thank God he finished it.
And let's talk about the finish, Dane. You, what did that pass look like? Did you know right away you had to play? And
the ball played through, and I saw those defenders splitting early, and so I made my run to where he could see me, hopefully, and he did. Played a perfect ball, but when I kicked it, it felt like an eternity coming off my foot. It felt like the slowest hit ever, and then it was in. Then we went to the corner, and I couldn't see anything.
you just got lobbed.
Yeah.
You celebrating with, and it sounds to me like it wasn't just teammates. Some of the fans were there too.
Yeah.
And
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
yeah, and I was going to ask you guys about that too, because I ran into Doug Podrowski earlier this week, who wrote an article for Lynnwoodtoday.com and MLTnews.com that was covering the game. And the very first thing he mentioned was that it just had a playoff atmosphere. It was just a large crowd, a lot of fun, quite a few people showing up. Are you guys used to seeing those kind of crowds at games, Ryley?
Not for regular season games usually. It's just Malik Terrace and Lynnwood. It's just something about that rivalry that everyone knows it's an intense game. Everybody knows there's so much meaning behind it that everybody comes out to go see it. Made it feel like a championship game.
And Dane, do you guys feed off of that? I mean, knowing that you've got a little, larger crowd than you normally do, I mean, does it kind of give you that much more in terms of adrenaline? What's that like for you as a soccer player?
I would say yeah, because you're playing for your fans, you're playing for your school, and it just gives you that motivation. I got to get this win for the school, for the fans, for ourselves, to get that win, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun having all the fans.
And we can kind of segue that now too. You guys wrap up your season on, I believe it's on Monday this week, a home game against Stanwood. So it's senior night.
Yes.
Always a chance to kind of honor the seniors who are playing their final home game, at least during the regular season anyway. And it's a Stanwood team that has struggled this year. They've only won one game, but their one win was against a very good Edmonds-Woodway team, 2-0. So Ryley, I've got to think for you guys, you know that it's a team that's lower in the standings, but a little extra motivation maybe knowing that, hey, we've already seen one of our fellow teams get beaten by these guys, and maybe unexpectedly, does that kind of keep you guys a little more focused and not forgetting that, hey, any team could beat us on any given night?
Yeah, I mean, you always have to stay focused, but knowing it's senior night, hopefully that gives the team extra motivation to go out and give it 100%. But yeah, you can't take any team lightly in this league. Everybody's been beating everybody, so it could be interesting.
And not only that, it's your final game of the year. You're in third place right now in terms of the district standings. If you finish in the top three, which you would obviously with a win, you would get a home game to start off the district playoffs next Saturday night. If you lose this game, you might have to go on the road. And not only that, you might have to go on the road against Squalicum, who's undefeated this year. Dane, is that something that gives you guys extra motivation also, knowing that it'd be nice to get another home game before the season wraps up?
Yeah, absolutely, because home games are always fun because we can get our fans out there. We can get lots of fans, like at the Terrace game. We had lots of people, and it's so much fun playing like that. It just gives us extra motivation to get the home game so we can get the win on Monday.
So we can't stress it enough. If you're watching out there, Lynnwood fans, get out and support these guys Monday night, 7:30. Again, the district playoffs are right around the corner, too. If you do get that home game, it would be next Saturday at some point. More than likely at Edmonds Stadium, potentially at Lynnwood High School, though. We're not sure yet, and also depends on Edmonds-Woodway's schedule. You might share the stadium that night, per se. Last year when I had you on the air here, we had a little goal competition going on between the two of you, a friendly rivalry, if you will. I never did hear how that rivalry ended up last year. Dane, give me the score tally. Who won the goal competition between the two of you?
Last year, I won. It was 20-18, but this
Came right
year,
down to the wire, huh?
yeah, it came down to the wire. But it was intense, and it helps us together because we're like, all right, like if you're ahead of me, I'm gonna work harder to get more.
Do you think about it though when you're passing to somebody? When you're,
No.
I mean, you still want to get the.
No, not
ultimately,
really.
the objective is to win the game, right?
Yeah, we don't think about it during the game, but after the game, we're always like, all right, what are you at?
Okay, fair enough. So now, Dane, you won 20-18. Ryley, I hear you're getting a little revenge this year. You're ahead right now, correct?
Yeah, I have 18 right now, and I believe you have, what, 13?
13, yeah, 13.
So
So he's got a little cushion on you right now, too,
Yeah.
Dane. You've got to get a hat trick or two here down the
Yeah.
stretch, huh? Fun to hear that you guys are doing that, but you also still obviously keeping in perspective that the team matters first. Speaking of which, tell me a little bit about this team this year, Ryley. What are we looking at if we go to a Lynnwood Royals game? Between watching the two of you, who else are we watching on this team?
Well, we have a really strong midfield this year, filled with seniors. Alex Villasenor and Henry Gonzalez, they control the midfield for us. And they're really strong players. They pick their head up. They look for me and Dane. They win the ball a lot on defense. They do a whole lot more than just play midfield for the team. And they've helped us get most of these wins we've had this year.
And I'm going to have you two talk about each other here for a moment, too. Ryley, I'll stick with you for a minute. We do have one more picture we want to put up. Dane scoring the winning goal against Mount Lake Terrace. So that actually is not the winning goal, but that's an action shot from the Terrace game. What does Dane mean to this team, and what does he mean to you as a teammate?
Dane means a whole lot to this team. Being a captain also, everybody looks up to this man for leadership, and being a forward, everybody looks to him to score the goals, and he gets both jobs done perfectly. He's just a magnet for the goal, and he's a good teammate, gets everybody going, and he's super helpful. I love playing with him.
And Dane, what about you for Ryley? What does he mean to you as a teammate?
As a teammate, he's probably one of the best I've ever had. He's always making those runs that I look for, and he gets his head up to look for me when I'm making the runs, and we just work off of each other so well that it works out amazing, and that's why we have the winning mentality and we have the success that we have.
And you guys must be okay with having each other as teammates, because I'm told that you're also going to be teaming up next year. Both of you are going to Highline Community College to start off your careers. Dane, how did that come about? Was this something where, are you guys a package deal from the get-go, or did it just kind of work out this way?
Well, he committed there first, and he kind of said to the coach that I was still looking. And so the coach got a hold of me, kind of said, all right, like, let's get a meeting, see if you like the school. And then my other, like, opportunities didn't work out. And so I said, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to commit. And so that's how it worked out.
And Ryley, what about for you now? There are closer colleges to home other than Highline, obviously, which is down near SeaTac. Why Highline as opposed to maybe, one of the schools around here?
Well, the coach, Steve Moan, great guy. He's gone through the community college, then professional route. So he's working to develop his players that he gets into going on to new opportunities beyond community college. And he's developed his team into one of the better communities in the state. So when he came calling, I enjoyed the school, I enjoyed the tours and everything, and so I figured it would be a good fit. Before
you're off to Highland, though, we are going to finish out this season. Going to swing back to districts right now, too. Last year, you made the district playoffs. You won your first game against Ferndale and then lost 2 consecutive games. It is a double elimination tournament. Top 3 teams end up moving on to state. And this year, you've got Snohomish and Edmonds-Woodway, obviously, to contend with in your own division. Squalicum is now a 3A school. They come down from the Northwest Conference, and they're also part of the district playoffs. What exactly is it that this team needs to do if they are, in fact, going to get out of the districts and into state? Dane, what would be maybe one of the keys to the team moving forward?
Just playing well, keeping the team together, and not like any in-game fighting or anything. Just keep the team together, keep them calm, keep them confident, and working together as a team to get the win.
How about for you, Ryley? What's maybe one of the keys that this team needs to do to get forward in the tournament?
I'd agree with Dane, and also add just persistence throughout. Whenever we go down early, just keeping our heads in the game and knowing that if everybody does their job, that it'll all work out for the better, and we'll most likely get the win.
And it's worked out so far this year. Again, 7-4 in conference play this year. You've got yourselves in third place out of a 12-team league as far as the 3A teams are concerned. So doing a nice job there. And we'll see what they can do. Again, Monday, 7:30 start time over at Lynnwood High School against Stanwood. And then it's on to districts. Ryley Johnson, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dane Evanger, thank you.
Thank you.
Best of luck not only on Monday, but also into the district playoffs.
Thank you.
It's nice that Dane and Ryley can continue playing together next year.
Yeah, the two of them have had so much success together in terms of not only wins, but helping each other get to their goal totals, which are extremely impressive.
Yeah, they are.
So it's nice that they're going to be able to continue at Highline for at least a couple of years, and who knows, maybe beyond that.
All right, so now we're going to the diamonds, so to speak.
We are. It's baseball and softball time. Baseball seasons are wrapping up. Edmonds-Woodway, congratulations to them. We can already say that they have, in fact, wrapped up the number 1 seed coming out of West Coast South. They're 14-1 in league play this year.
Wow.
So we know that they're going to play their first home playoff game next Saturday. That'll be at 2 p.m. Opponent to be determined. Meadowdale and Lynnwood, both coming right down to the wire here. They're not even assured of playoff spots yet. Well, I guess one of them is. The other one is not. So Meadowdale and Lynnwood play back-to-back games against one another on Monday, Tuesday. Monday they're at Lynnwood. Tuesday they're at Meadowdale. Right now, Lynnwood is 6-9 in league play. Meadowdale is 7-8. Shorecrest has already finished their season at 6-11. So there's 2 playoff spots between those 3 teams. So Meadowdale having already clinched a spot, Lynnwood can get in if they win at least one of those games. If Lynnwood wins both of them, they can leapfrog Meadowdale and could potentially have a home game on Thursday. There's a play-in game on Thursday, which both of those teams would have to take part in if they do in fact make it. Either at home or on the road. It's a 1-game elimination. If you win that game on Thursday, you join Edmonds-Woodway over in the double elimination tournament. If you lose, your season's over. So there's a lot on the line right now for those 2 teams in particular. So we'll see how that goes. And then you've got Mount Lake Terrace, who is the 2A school. So they're done playing the 3As for the year. Their regular season is wrapped up. Mount Lake Terrace is going to be in an elimination game on Tuesday over at Mount Lake Terrace High School. We believe it's against Cedar Crest, but we haven't had confirmation yet. Time of the game to be determined. But again, Mount Lake Terrace could have their season come to an end on Tuesday. But if they win that game, they will move on to the 2A district playoffs. And that would start over in Anacortes on Saturday. I think it's an afternoon game. Opponent to be determined, but apparently Anacortes has it set up to where they've got a couple of different fields, and the entire semifinals and quarterfinal matchups will take place right there. So we'll keep you posted on that and let you know if Mount Lake Terrace, in fact, makes it out of the Tuesday matchup and on to the rest of the postseason.
Okay, and you saw a quick softball game this week, you
I
said.
did, yeah. Again, we've talked about this the last few weeks. There's really 3 teams that are all kind of vying for the top spots in Wesco 3A South, and they're all 3 of our teams from the district. It is Mount Lake Terrace and Edmonds-Woodway right now on Friday that we're going to talk about. 2 great pitchers, too. Kira Doan from Mount Lake Terrace and Mariah Woolry from Edmonds-Woodway. Classic pitchers duel, and not a big surprise the way both of those 2 have pitched this year. We broadcasted that game on Sound Live Sports Network. Kira had a no-hitter going into the final inning. Edmonds-Woodway was finally able to get a couple of doubles off of her. Made it interesting at the end, but Terrace held on for a 3-2 victory. And so the standings right now are Mount Lake Terrace is 11-2, Meadowdale 1 game back, 10-3, Edmonds-Woodway a game back from them at 9-4. So it's coming right down to the final few games. Their season, by the way, does not end as quickly as the baseball season. So they've got another week and a half or so of regular season games left. But the big matchup this week is Friday, 4 p.m. It's Edmonds-Woodway versus Meadowdale at Meadowdale. Edmonds-Woodway won the first matchup this year, so they're trying to avoid the sweep. And if Meadowdale is trying to avoid the sweep, if Edmonds-Woodway wins that game, they will essentially probably take the #1 seed going into district tournament play, because Mount Lake Terrace obviously going off in the 2A
Yeah,
direction. So it's a
yeah.
big deal. So Friday's game, 4 p.m., and we certainly encourage folks to get on out and watch Edmonds-Woodway and Meadowdale. Two very good teams. Meadowdale, the defending state champion. So it should be a good one.
Yeah, good. Well, and our broadcast schedule this week has us doing track, right?
Track, the Edmonds School District track meet, which was a lot of fun last year. We did that for the first time, and so many great track athletes this year. And I think we're going to try to get as many interviews into that as possible too. So it's not just a matter of tuning in to watch the athletes run around the track. We're going to try to mix it up a little bit and have some fun and get to know some of these track athletes a little better than we already do. Some we've had in studio, others we haven't. So certainly encourage folks to tune in Friday, 5 p.m. to the Edmonds School District track meet live from Edmonds Stadium.
Very good. And of course, we have an amazing amount of great track athletes. We've had a lot of them here, and that should be fun.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, okay. Well, if that's all, did we miss anything?
I think we've pretty much covered
Okay,
most of it. We
very
didn't cover golf yet this week, but
Uh,
their district play is right around the corner
Okay.
too, and we'll keep an eye on things there.
Okay, good. Well, join us next week for all the results and updates, and we hope you have a great week. And I do believe there is supposed to be sun in the forecast Wednesday and Thursday at least, so
Hopefully
fingers
it carries
crossed.
into Friday, right? So
Yeah,
we'll see.
yeah. Okay. Have a good week, everybody.